everybody. So today is Saturday. That means it's time for family movie night. And we're continuing on Muppet May. It's very exciting. And I have my festive cap on because we are celebrating Christmas with a very special Christmas special that we're talking about. Today we're talking about the Great Santa Claus Switch. And this aired in 1970. And it's really important in the lore of Jim Henson's and the Muppets because it was the first special that they did. They'd had Sesame Street, which had been around for 1 year at this point. So they were just kind of getting started with what they were doing. And they'd had a number of different appearances on the Ed Sullivan Show. But this was the chance to basically take over an entire episode of the Ed Sullivan Show. Ed Sullivan is the narrator at the beginning of the special. And so it's definitely was like a huge opportunity. So it was definitely a huge opportunity for Jim Henson and his team, because that was a huge show. Ed Sullivan was massive during the 60s and 70s. So to get to have an entire episode with just their characters and their storytelling was incredible. And it was a chance to work on ideas that they had been formulating for many, many years. If you go on the Muppet Wiki, it shows these incredible watercolors and drawings that Jim had made, and that he had been trying to pitch this for many, many years. And this was the chance to actually get to try it out and do a 50-minute special before the whole world, which is so exciting for them. And it was the chance to get to work with some people that he hadn't worked with much or hadn't worked with at all. Developed along with Jerry Jewell, who was a frequent collaborator, and they worked on it for many years. And they had the music from Joe Raposo, who is the one who did a ton of the Sesame Street songs. And so it's really fun to hear the music. And it has a lot of songs for a special like this, only 50 minutes. To have 5 songs is pretty cool and impressive.
Happy little Christmas elves, we never are forlorn. We fill up all of Santa's shelves.
So this was the first time that he worked with Richard Hunt, who ended up doing a ton of characters over the years. And in particular, he did Janice, Scooter, Statler, Beaker, Sweetums. So incredible work. And then he also worked with Fran Brill, who would go on to do Prairie Dawn, Little Bird, Zoe, Betty Lou, a bunch of different female characters. So that is really cool. And the story of this is kind of a classic story that's been done a bunch of different times. You'll recognize it from things like Night Before Christmas, even the Grinch. You would see it in there. You've got Art Carney. He plays 2 different characters quite seamlessly, I would say. He plays Santa Claus and he plays Cosmo Scam. And Cosmo Scam is like kind of an evil witch. He's like a bad guy. He even has like a pointed hat at a point. And he decides that he is going to kidnap Santa Claus. So then he can basically go into every house in the world and steal from every house in the world. Obviously, this is terrible, but he's a bad guy. And so all of the elves and the team at the North Pole are, of course, very concerned about this. There's even this elf, Fred the Christmas elf. And one of the things that I noticed that you don't really see in that many Muppets things is how often they would like hold the Muppets, and that it was clear that it's just a puppet. Show the entire puppet, and it looks like just fabric. It doesn't have that kind of look that they're able to do now when you can have all of the special effects and different things like that. And of course, they would cut away, so it would just be on the face, so that way the puppeteer could be there. But a lot of times it looks like they're just holding fabric, and so you could just feel like sort of the budget, and this was the beginning, and I just thought that was really interesting to see.
Sit down. The little bum knows that I'm not the real Santa Claus.
Indeed I do. You might as well give up, sir. My boys have this cave surrounded.
Oh, no.
You do see some characters that would appear later on. There's Thig and Thog, who you would see on the Muppet Show and in other appearances. And they have this group called the Frackles, which are kind of the henchmen of the Cosmo Scam. And those, it's Frackle, not Fraggle, but it looks a lot like Fraggle Rock with the cave and with the everything. So there's definitely some inspiration there. There's also a character named Snarl who would then go on to be an inspiration for Gonzo, which is kind of fun to see, like an early Gonzo. It's kind of similar to the Cinderella movie that they did around this time, where you had the early version of Kermit. So it's fun to see these building blocks that then would become more established characters as they refine them and perfect them.
Snivel, hickory, snarl, scoff,
And gloat. That's what I love, the true Christmas spirit.
Like I said, this is a very classic story. So your bad man wants to ruin Christmas, and what are they going to do to like stop them? And we're going to believe in the magic of Christmas. Of course, I love all of that. I love Christmas movies, and I love the magic of Christmas. And like I said, the songs are good, and Art Carney is fun. He's having a good time with this, and he's like deliciously villainous.
Do you know you're an excellent actor? Don't try to sweet talk me, Santa Claus. All right, thinking thongs, throw Santa Claus into the dungeon.
This is one that you have to watch on YouTube. It's not available anywhere, released anywhere. But I think it's worth seeing just for the Muppet history of it alone, especially because Jim Henson worked on it for so long, and to finally get it made is what must have been so thrilling. It must have been so exciting to see this. And it's very kind of standard. We've seen it done many times and many times before and after, but it's still very pleasant. Like I said, good songs, but it's still very pleasant. It will make you get in those holiday spirits, which is always a good thing. And so I would recommend the Great Santa Claus Switch. And I guess it's available at the Pele Center, so it is preserved in some way. If you happen to be, I think that's in Los Angeles, so I guess you can check that out there. But as far as watching it at home, you have to watch it on YouTube. So you should check that out. It's definitely a very fascinating piece of TV history and Muppets history, and it's always interesting, like what things stick out and last forever, and what things kind of fall by the wayside and get forgotten. And it's not always a quality thing. Sometimes it's just there's a lot of other stuff like it around the same time. Sometimes it's developed sort of a cult following, which is interesting when that happens.
a Merry Christmas time to you. A Merry Christmas time.
Let me know if you have seen the Great Santa Claus Switch. What you think of it? Did you like it? Not like it? I'd be curious for what your thoughts are. What are some of your favorite of this really, really early time period for Jim Henson, Sesame Street, Muppets, all of that? I would love to know that too. And thanks so much. Please like this video. Please subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate that. Make sure you check out my playlist with all of my Muppet May reviews. Been doing this for many, many years, so it's got quite a few on there. So definitely take a look at that, and make sure to check out Hallmark's podcast for tons of Christmas content over there. I've got a whole playlist with all my Christmas content. I've got hundreds and hundreds of videos and podcasts, so check that out. And make sure you check out the Patreon. That's the biggest way you can support everything you're doing. You get early access to episodes, you get bonus episodes, you get to be part of our watch-alongs and other patron events. You get to be part of our Facebook group. Really trying to make it as worthwhile as I possibly can. Please, please, please check out the Patreon. And then the merch store, we have tons of fun designs at the merch store, lots of holiday designs, so check that out. And thanks so much, everybody. Merry Christmas. Bye.